as a whole. I do actually compose, I arrange, mix, and then today I'm gonna master a track that I made in previous episode 234 of templates online right now on the site wavesssl.com, of course. It's like a piano-y, prog trance, kind of nice track, 132 BPM. And I finished the production. First I composed it, then I mixed and arranged it, and now I'm gonna master it, guys. And I think I have to talk to you guys a little bit more about the mastering process, because I think it's a very important thing that I took on very early when I started music production in the early 2000s, really. So basically the mastering process is the finishing. So what we want is a track that will play well in many different sound systems. That does mean that your frequency have to be, I wouldn't say linear, but they have to be well contained, so it will sound good on some, you know, let's say some headphones like these. Those speakers, very good reference to hear, all very important. Those headphones, premium quality. Of course, will have to sound good on a big sound system, because we're making music for the masses that will get played on large sound system. And this is, I think, the most important part that tend to get forgotten when people are mastering a track on their own. It's like, oh, it sounds good in my headphones and stuff. This is not the point. I mean, it has to sound good on your headphones, yes. But if you have a really big banging track on your headphones, think about how it's going to translate on a big sound system that's super push, that's going to compress on it. It's not going to work very well. And the first step to this process, guys, is preparing your track for mastering, which a lot of people don't do. So first step I would like to tell to everyone is basically when you do a mix, you have to leave space, and you always mix a track without having limiting, maximizing, whatever you may call it, on the out. So you mix a track as flat as possible, you leave some room for the mastering engineer to bring out the musicality in the next step. For you, you know, let's say you're a composer and you also written the track, you arrange it, let's say you've done the whole production work, and then you pass it on to a mastering engineer. You have to think about the person that is coming after you, and this person is gonna know that you leave him some space or not. I have a good example personally. I had a track in 2006 that did very well. It's called Mika Spirit Emotion, Division 7 mix. Very interesting track, very new like in those days, so it was like a very airy, deep, progressive kind of thing. And I made it on my sound system I had then. I sent it for mastering, and when I received it I was like, oof, it doesn't sound good to me on my systems and stuff. But guys, it went number one. Everybody loved it. It got played everywhere around the world. It was a very innovative track, but the way I mixed it was terrible. And the mastering engineer did not get back to me. He just fixed it, you know, the way he could. And this was a good lesson to be learned, because when I listened to it, I was like, oh man, this is bad. But everybody else that listened to it on the Resonant Vibes back then and Beatport, wow, they love it. This was a smashing hit. So this is a thing to understand, that you really have to mix. And if you do mastering with someone, you use a mastering engineer, you have to listen to his feedback. So take his feedback on board. If he's like, well, your kick is way too strong, your kick's underpowered, your lows are muddy or something, take his feedback on board, correct the mix, send it back. He's going to be able to do an amazing job. And if you work with a mastering engineer who doesn't give you any feedback, well, maybe your track was right, or maybe you should work with another mastering engineer. By the way, guys, I do mastering. I think I charge 30 euros on the website, so if you want to get mastering done. Now I have this studio here. I'm preparing something else, of course, but for today I will do the mastering in my headphones, and I just give you, two little tips about the start. I will do more sessions about mastering where I will give more in-depth tricks about how to prepare a track, but the most basic, most important thing, don't compress. Don't put compression. Don't put limiting on the main out. Mix flat. Mix like a track. Like it doesn't. If you're able to mix a track flat and it sounds good, that means the next step will make it sound amazing. If you're able to mix a track with a lot of stuff like Sound Goodizer in FL Studio and you think it's good, this is a beginner's mistake. So try to do it the other way. Anyway, guys, we have a track to master, and it is a prog trance track. You can see I pull out the plugins here. I use Waves mainly. I have UAD, but I do not use UAD very much these days for the process. I would have to redo my mastering chain, and anyway. So basically I start here. I have a REQ just here, which I usually filter the low end, like I just do a very steep cut of the low end. Let's say around 21, just 20 or 21K, just to say that I trim the bottom, and just let's have a bit of a listen to the track. So it is flat. You can see it's not maximized, it's not overly blown. I still have 5, 656 dB on average, a bit more. So let's listen to this here. So the bass is quite powerful. I left it there because I know I can compress it now. Now I can contain it. Mid-lows are rich and present. There's a nice little top end thing there, and then I think the piano will come in there. And we have a fairly long breakdown that continues after this right here. It goes down to almost nothing. So I want to really keep the clarity. I also want to keep the dynamics, so that means I don't want the breakdown to be super loud. That means the rest shouldn't be overpowered. And the way I do this personally, which is that many mastering engineers do this, is to have different parts to the mastering with minimal incremental loudness gain and minimal compression and limiting this coming in slowly at the time. So it's not one plugin does all the work. I think it's a big mistake to do this. It's all the plugins together bring the track forward, and we adjust it as we move on. So we'll come back here. So guys, that is the track, and we're gonna start. I get a linear EQ there if I have something to correct. In my track, because like I said earlier, because I mixed it, I don't need to do this, so I'm gonna skip this phase. There's a tube EQ here, which I will keep. It's just a little bit of like a booster, bring a little bit more energy. And the lows, you know, it just brings a little bit of analog in the digital we have, which is most of the time too clean. Oh, I love that part here, just nice 2 or 3 coming in. So I usually start, guys, with a limiter just to trim the top. So what I want to do now is just to trim what's really at the top to be able to, after this, apply some compression properly. So if we go in the main part here, could give it a bit more. So with. So another important thing, guys, in those episodes, I leave the master untouched as much as I can. So at first you will hear it less, and as I progress to the chain, you're gonna see it's gonna get louder. So at the end, you will really see the difference between the start and the end. I do have to somehow sidechain my voice to the program so you can hear my voice properly. But other than that, I try to really leave it flat so you can hear the result. And of course, you can get this mastering chain on the site replica.com. We have plenty of mastering chains, as a matter of fact. Okay, so the first is there. 2 dB of compression, just like skimming the top a little bit. Nothing too aggressive. Then we go into a LinMb, which is slightly more aggressive. Multiband. Bit more of a phase adjustment for this. It does compress, it does contain the top, as you can see, without. I mean, it is nice, but it doesn't sound so together. When I activate this, it just put it like where it belongs. If something is really sticking out now, I think we're in the right place. Particularly like the piano. So here. Very full. I really like the mid-lows of this and the low. So I'm barely touching the low end here. I think I will even do a bit less. So I'm barely touching the lows. Very nice. Then we have an EPI 2500. This is for the character of the low end that I use, so turn it on. Very little. I would say 2 dB max. less. Oh, am I doing that backward? Okay. So that for me add some body to the track. So without. It does contain everything. It's just a compressor, of course, so this is its job to put everything together, but it does, you know, put everything together and give it like a nice gel, a nice glue consistency. And I know that I can hear in those headphones, which are very good, is the ISN that Audio Technica does, that the kick in the big sound system will be like doo, 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 doo. You can really feel it. Without, it's there, but it doesn't have this thickness, you know, that we're looking for dance music. I have a console EQ that I might or might not use. Let's turn it on. It's hot and bright. Put the top end, boost the lows. I cannot say I don't like it. I think the top is a bit too intense, so we'll bring it down. Bring it back from the start here. Without. No, I do like the mid gain here. Very nice. 7.2, 7,200. And here 2 dB of gain. The lows at 60, we have 1.4. Very good, very nice. Without. No, I like this. This is just a little touch. Then I have a center, which I do not always use. It depends on the track. I want to hear it on the piano here. Does really add a lot of dimension to the track. This. I'll drop the master a little bit because I'm a little bit in the red there. Without. So now I can see here the low end much more toward the center, the high and the punch toward the side, but not completely. If I would really put it to the side, you can hear the effect. No, I don't really like this. Just to have a little bit is okay. Then I can also play here with how much of the side. So this is almost completely mono. And then we can tell how much of the sides do we want. We want to boost it to have maximum volume to the side. Usually I leave the center to 0. Put the side a little bit louder, let's say 3.5. Turn it off. Without it, sound a bit bland. I do not use this always. This is, and then I have a Kramer tape, which I don't use most of the time. This is just a warmer to say if it would be, let's say, a very digital track, you know, without processing, maybe sample based that I have to work on, and I want to bring a bit more richness. I always use this. At this case, it's warm already. You can hear it. Then I'm gonna do SSL, which would touch very, very minimally. See here, maybe a tiny bit more. Let's go into the piano part. Again, 2 dB. This is my rule. 2, sometimes 3 dB at the most of compression, limiting, of altering the program, not much more than 2 dB at the time. So you have consistency, and then the end, you're able to bring the loudness a lot without having to really use like heavy compression. So then I have a second instance of the LinMb, which is an opto. So that means this one is a lot tighter, it's a lot less permissive, and this is the one of the final phase. So I can bring the volume a little bit here, you can see a little bit more. Okay, now I'm at the limit. So this is how you bring loudness without squashing everything. I mean, I have attenuation here, but it's nothing. It's like 3 dB. Without. With. And for the final phase of this mastering, of course, L316, which I will balance. So how to use L316 is simple. First you read the instruction. I think it's the best way to go. Then once you read the instruction, you're gonna do this. You turn it on, and you have this bar here, and you bring the threshold and outsetting down at the same time. Once you start losing signal, which is about here, you went too far. So then you go back up, and then you're like, okay, I have some compression. This is good here. Then you can go here in your multimeter to see the result. We're at minus 13 here, but we have the outsetting to bring up here, boom. So it is again not heavily altering the program, but let's have a listen to the track now. Oh, wait a second. Let's have a look too at the parts working together. See? Barely working here. Let's look at the LinMb. I think is the one that's doing the most work. Make sure we're not clipping here. Ooh, this 303. The bass is coming in soon too. I want to hear this. And you can hear the kick, how this big, there's a big thump, you know, it's really has this chunk that I know when it's hitting a big sound system, it's gonna be doom, 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 doom. It really punch. And then the melodics come in. It's like it's building up, and I mean, in a big sound system, you would feel a lot more that you can hear. You can hear this, but it's more, this is just a whole flow of energy that I'm dropping onto people. And then the main bass line just came in now. Again, oh, a little bit of clipping here. Piano is still super airy, big room. This track, guys. I think I'll release it. I said I'm gonna release a lot of those episodes, guys. I just don't have the time to put into it to build up and to send promos and to do the work. And by the way, guys, I always master 96,000 kilohertz, 32 bits, very important, maximum dynamic range. Second drop after in the breakdown here, bring some energy as much as possible. I would really see a singer on top of that would work very well. Alright guys, this is gonna be it for episode 241 of your live electronic music tutorials. I hope you enjoyed the show. Check out the other 240. I do mastering, I do mixing, I compose techno, trance, prog, breakbeats. I make music for over 20 years guys, and sharing with you is what I do. And until next time, may the sounds be with you.